In honor of it being like 50 degrees in the middle of the summer, I thought that I would share a warm cuffing season story time with you guys. Now, this story, like it's titled, is a POF story time. Yes. Oh, okay. All right, guys, I hear. Okay, calm down. Yeah, and I know. There's a lot of crazies on that app, but in my defense, I was a freshman and I wanted to meet a guy. You know, they say you meet guys in college, and I went to an all-girls school, and I don't know, but like that's a story for another time. And like we got to talk about Ian. Yes, the guy's name is Ian, or at least that's what we're going to call him for the purpose of this video. But before we talk about him, let's talk about our leader of the week. Our leader of the week is my best friend Adri. What can I say about Adri? She's just one of the strongest, most motivated women that I know, and I love her dearly, and you're the reason why I decided to have more frequent content on this channel. You always encourage me to do more in my career. You always encourage me to be more of the person that I really am on the inside, and yeah, keep doing what you're doing. And everyone, she's gonna be a college grad soon, you know. Gotta big it up for the black women who are trying to do something with their lives. And that's not shade to anybody else, that's just saying as women, not only black women, we have to motivate each other. Now, moving into the story, this is also a biracial story time. Now, race does not usually matter, but for the purpose of this story time, it does today. You guys will understand more if you continue to listen. So, like, to recap, freshman year, I was close to a few girls, I had some issues, and I just felt lonely, and I just wanted to talk to a guy, and I didn't know exactly what I was looking for, but I knew I had a type. Yes, I will admit, as much as I denied it, I do have a type. I still do, but at that stage, I don't know, I wanted to go for what I thought would be my match, and based off this story, it was not my match at all. So, to give you a little backstory on Ian, Ian was a white guy. He didn't know exactly what his heritage was. He just knew he was white American. He actually was one of the few people I met that called himself, I was going to say considered himself to be, but same thing. He called himself Caucasian. He was from out in the woods of Pennsylvania. He had just recently moved to New York for a job, and I so happened to have the honor of talking to him when he first got here. So I talked to Ian for about 3 months. Literally, as soon as I got to college, I happened to start using the app, which is a story for another time. And I met Ian, and I thought he was super cool, so I decided I wanted to meet up with him. Now, this is where it should have been like a red flag, but it wasn't. So I text my other girlfriend, we're gonna call her Nikki for the purpose of this video, and I said, hey Nikki, do you want to come out with me somewhere? Like, I'm a little afraid to go, and I kind of need someone to come with me. And she was like, okay, stop rambling, what is going on? And I told her, okay, so you know like how I'm talking to a guy online? Now mind you, Nikki was talking to a few guys online too, so she got where I was coming from. And she said, you want me to come with you on a date? I'm like, yes I do, but I don't want him to know you're there. So she's like, I got you, girl. Well, where do you guys want to go? So I said, this is the thing about Ian, and you guys, this is where I said the red flags should have been everywhere. Ian did not eat fast food. Now, for all of you guys who follow me on Instagram and you get to watch my stories and see me, I eat a lot of fast food. Now, I don't eat McDonald's, Burger King in that sense, but a girl could eat macaroni from Outback Steakhouse every day if she could. I love going to diners. I love going out to City Island for seafood. I love food. Love going to restaurants. And Ian had a strict diet, So he told me, why don't we just meet up at Dunkin' Donuts for coffee? Because coffee has no calories, he said, or something of the sense. So I'm like, okay, cool. I dragged Dominique with me. Basically, like, we got in my car. I told her, well, actually, no, I didn't even tell her. She was the one with the genius plan. She's like, you know what we're gonna do? I'm gonna go in first. I'm gonna sit down there. I'm gonna order a coffee. No, she said, yeah, I'm gonna order a coffee. I'm gonna check him out, see if he looks like he look in the photos. And then if everything's cool, the coast is clear, I'll call you, you come inside and you tell him, oh my God, I'm so sorry, I was running late. So that's what we did. So she's sitting in the corner on this side, and I'm sitting like right on the opposite corner by the window facing my car, but he didn't know my car was there because I told him I walked. Yeah, I know I shouldn't have lied, but I didn't want him to have any idea of where I was coming from, what I drove. I didn't know if he was gonna be crazy, and he turned out to be crazy, but we'll get into that. So I sat down with him and I was a little annoyed. One, because when I asked him, hey, do you want to get something to drink while we talk? He said, honestly, no, I don't eat Dunkin' Donuts. Why would you take me on a date to Dunkin' Donuts if you don't eat Dunkin' Donuts? I'm like, no. I mean, like, why don't we just get a coffee or I don't drink coffee. I'm like, or a hot chocolate or something like that. No, I don't have any type of processed sugar or fat. Oh, okay. So then I said, where are you coming from? Well, I got off work, I went to the gym for an hour, and now I'm hanging with you, and I'll probably work out for another half an hour and then go to sleep. Oh, okay, what do you do for fun? I go to the gym. Oh, what do you do in your spare time? I draw blueprints. Oh, okay. Now I know what you guys are thinking. Why am I listening to you talking about a guy who's clearly a dub that you continue to talk to anyway? He had such a sweet side. Online, he seemed like he was a cool guy, and basically, after we got through all of that, he started to tell me about his family. Now, I'm not going to share his personal business, but he told me about him having brothers in Pennsylvania and what it was like for him. And another thing, which should have also been a red flag, but it's actually what got me close to him. He told me where he's from, there are a lot of Confederates, and he did not date black women because he was always afraid, but he was not attracted to white women, and he just wants to, he didn't really say he wants to see what it's like, because he already knew from talking to people before me and so on, but he said he wanted to give it a shot, and that I was the first person he met from online. And like I said before, he was the first person I met online. So I thought, okay, cool, this guy, why don't I just give him a shot? What's the worst thing could happen? So that's date number one. I eventually told him, you know, I think I gotta head back to school. He said, yeah, I have like a 2-hour drive anyway, I should head back home. So we went our ways. This is when we started texting, because before we were just on the app. And I would call him, I spoke to him on the phone probably twice, if that, and that was about it. Fast forward a few months, well, no, not a few months, let's say like going on the end of the month, because this was the beginning of November, the first day, the last day was like the end of November, early December. I decided that I wanted to see him again, because I honestly didn't feel anything. And I know you're not supposed to force feelings, but he seemed like a cool guy. So I'm like, worst that could happen is that we decide we're gonna be friends and we leave it at that. Well, I decided I was gonna do the 2-hour-and-a-half drive. Mind you, this is when I first started frequently driving. I had my license for about a year before this, but I did not drive very often, and when I did, it was like the 15-minute time span between going to my mom and my dad's house. So I decided I was gonna cross a bridge, which I had never done, and I was gonna pay a toll, on my dad's Easy Pass. I don't know why I didn't think about all of this. And that I was gonna go spend a day. I was gonna clear my whole Saturday, clear my whole Saturday schedule, call in from work, and spend a day with some random guy upstate. So I am terribly afraid of the dark. So I made sure that I went out there early. Like, I woke up at 7:30, text my mom good morning, took a shower. By 8:30 I was out. I had to make sure I got there before 9 o'clock because I want to spend a couple of hours with him and then be on my merry way before it was close, not even dark, before it was even close to being dark. So I'm like, oh, nothing bad happens in the daytime, you know. So I drive up to him, and on my way there I cross 2 train tracks. So I'm like, what is this, Long Island? Why is there train tracks in the middle of the road? And I'm like looking, and then you see saloons, you see like all these old-fashioned stores that you would see in like a movie, and you're like, is this real? Like, is this a real town, or is this like a elaborate scam? Is Stephen King going to write a script about me? Like, what is going on here? But no. So I decide I'm gonna pull over and text him, hey, I'm in your neighborhood, blah blah blah. He goes, oh, you're right by my barber shop, come up the hill, blah 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 blah, I'll wait for you out back. Out back? Okay. So I drove. In order to get up to where he lived, I had to go through these little paths in the forest, and it was like these narrow, they were part of the road, but basically, like, let's say there's a highway, but then you go up a hill and you're going through a forest and you go down a little valley, and his house is there with 2 other houses. So basically there's a long block with only like about 3 houses. I want to say 4 because he was a corner house. So his house and 3 other houses on that strip, and then nothing but forest, nothing but trees and bush, and it was just like, okay. So I'm like, you know what? The worst is off. Let me get out the car and say hi. I came all the way here. I might as well. So he was under the impression I was going to cook for him, and I told him, you know, why don't I make something you don't normally eat? I love French toast, so I offered to make him French toast, of course. But like I said, he was a health food junkie, so he goes, why don't we make protein pancakes? Not gonna lie, protein pancakes are kind of good, but for this story, we're just gonna be mad about it. So, I get out, and the first thing he says to me, hey, are you ready to make French toast? Hello, how was your day, Zoe? That would have been nice, but no. So then, he said, I go towards the front door, and he goes, no. Come around back. So I walk down, and he goes, no, my apartment's here. You told me you lived in a house. Like, there's nothing wrong with this, but he gave me the impression that it was his house that he was renting. He didn't give me the impression that he was renting the basement in the house. So it was like a side door towards the back. You would walk down the step and enter his apartment. When I got down there, he said, oh, you know, majority of this furniture is not mine, so don't really touch anything. So I'm like, oh, okay. And then he opens the door, and as soon as he opens the door, he goes, whatever, son, you know I was bullied when I was young. And I'm like, what is that? What exactly are you doing, Ian? So then he goes, come on, girl, you know this one. Yo, B, you know this one. Yo, what? I know what? Huh? So prior to this instance, I had never heard him speak out of proper vernacular. Like, his English was impeccable. He was just always speaking properly. Like, he never spoke any type of slang. Now, I have no problem with that because, you know, I'm a girl from the Bronx. I know about that slang. But that's not the type of guys I date. Sorry about it. I date all types of guys, but I don't date guys that from the hood that speak slang. Sorry about it. So he's talking, and well, not really talking, he was trying to rap, and he's doing this little move and this little basketball. And at the time, I actually didn't know that song because that's when Post Malone's White Iverson had first came out. And I'm actually not big on hip-hop music. Like, I listen to rap, and I listen to Christian pop, and I listen to dancehall. That's about it. So I'm like, what? White Iverson? What the hell is that? And he goes, girl, you know this one. You black. I know you know this one. I what? I know what because of what? He goes, no, calm down, I mean it like that. So then he switches up and he starts to talk properly again, and he goes, I was trying to make you feel comfortable because I understand that I live far from where you're from, and I just figured that if I was dancing you would laugh at me because you know I have no rhythm, and I figure like if I knew hip-hop music we'd have something in common. What would give you the impression I know hip-hop music? Well, because, you know, like, you know. And I'm like, I know what? And he goes, you're from the Bronx. And I'm like, oh, I felt so bad, honestly, guys. Like, I'm like, oh, I thought he was trying to say because I'm black, but he really meant because I'm from the Bronx. And no, he meant because I was black, but I was very naive and stupid when I believed him when he said, oh, because you're from the Bronx. So I let that pass, and he said, why don't you come sit down on the couch, get comfortable for a little bit, I'll turn off the Apple Music. And he kept referring to it as that. Like every time he would say, oh, it's the Apple Music. Oh, you know, I pay for no, it wasn't called Apple Music at the time. It was when it first came out, and it was iTunes Radio, and you got the free version, but there were also stations you had to pay for. So he's like, yeah, you know, I pay for Apple Music, you know, I don't have iTunes Radio, I pay for Apple Music, you know. So I'm like, okay. I'm like, what? So he's like, yeah, that's why, you know, they got all the latest songs on here. That's probably why you didn't know this song. You know, it's White Iverson by Post Malone. By who? Post Malone. I'm like, okay. So this is when I start to get up. Then he's like, no, don't get up. Let me just clean the kitchen a little bit, and we could cook. So I'm like, you know what? I came all this way. Let me at least spend the day with him. Let me give him the benefit of the doubt. I don't know why I kept giving him chances in the same day. And he got up and he went and washed dishes, and then I came over and I said, hey babe, you know, I gave him a little hug. I said, you know, I'm sorry about that. I understand you apologized and what you really meant, and you know what, why don't you take a seat and I'll cook. So, you know, I made the French toast. I'm not going to get into that because that's for another video. And fried it up, and he's waiting, and he goes, oh, I should have bought the Fiber One bread. The what? I should have bought the Fiber One bread. Fiber One bread. One bread. I mean, you mean 7 grain? Yeah, that one, the brown bread. Fiber One doesn't make bread, guys. So then I said, what's wrong with the white bread? I've never seen someone use whole wheat toast. Oh, because the white's not good enough. White is never good enough. Okay. Do you want me to... Wait a second, did you use the white eggs? Yeah, I did use the white eggs. Those were the only eggs I saw in the fridge. Oh, those were mine. Those are my roommates. Do I look like someone that buys white eggs? Sorry, I didn't know. You told me I could use what was in your fridge. So you only left out the cinnamon and the bread that you just bought. So I used a little bit of the milk. You use the milk too? Oh, that's my roommate's milk. I don't drink milk. I didn't know you needed milk. You don't need milk to make French toast? What? So I'm just like, are you being serious right now? And he goes, no, it's probably delicious. So I literally, like I said, he told me make the whole pack of bread. It was a small Italian roll, so that's like about 6 slices plus the ends, so 8 altogether. Besides the ends, I made the 6 slices. So I'm here thinking he's gonna eat at least 3 and I'll eat 3 if we're gonna divide it evenly. He goes, oh no, I only use the brown organic eggs. I'll just take half of a piece. Half of a what? So he literally takes a slice of bread and cuts it in half, and he's like, this is enough for me. I don't eat much anyway. You could have the other 5 slices and the half. So I put that half right back on his plate. I'm like, you gonna eat that? And I ate my food, and then I was, honestly at this time I was getting ready to head out, but I decided, you know what, I'm gonna stay for a little bit longer. And I was like, you know, why don't we just talk? And he goes, I don't really want to talk right now. We talk a lot online. Why don't we watch a show? So I'm like, sure. And I'm like, is the TV yours? Like making a joke, since he claims nothing in the house is really his except for a few of like these extremely interestingly shaped vases and these architecture blueprints and so on. So he goes, yeah, no, I could watch a TV. My roommate and I have agreement. You're what? So then he goes to tell me, well, you know, before when you asked me to use the bathroom. Now, I know I did not mention this before because I just figured you guys don't need to know. I asked him if I could use the bathroom, and he said no. But I probably should have mentioned that when it happened in the story. Yeah, so he told me, can I hold off on using the bathroom? And I guess the reason why is he had a female roommate who I guess he took down all her pictures before I came and like all this stuff. To this day, the only reason why I think they really were roommates is because they had separate rooms. His room did not have any female stuff in it, but it could have been his girl for all I know. I really don't care at this stage. He had to go in there and I guess take down her panties from drying and like her makeup from off the counter before I used it. So that's when he said, yeah, basically, you know, I don't rent the furniture. Most of this is my roommate's, and those interesting items that you keep calling out, those ones are mine. So I'm like, oh, okay, why didn't you just say you have a roommate? Oh, you know, I was a little embarrassed. You know, I'm 26, I have a roommate. Oh, but you're new in town. He goes, yeah, but you know, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, you know, guys have their egos. I just let it be. Time goes on, and he basically tells me like, you know, we're gonna watch this show. Okay. He's like, I want to watch Anchorman. Anchorman is my favorite show. I've never seen it. Oh, you're gonna love it. Like, you have to love it if you love me. If I do what? So I just stay quiet because now I'm at the stage where I am feeling frightened. Now, I go through like 3 stages when it comes to meeting new people. The, hi, nice to meet you. The, what am I do? And okay, maybe I should just remain still because I am very scared of what might happen next. So I was at that last stage with him at this stage. And I'm like, okay, so I'm sitting on the couch across from him. We're not on the same couch. And he goes, why don't you come over here? Why are you so far away? So I said, well, we were eating. Mind you, I'm still finishing my French toast because, like I said, he left me with all 5 pieces. And he was like, oh, you can't waste the food. Like, I paid money for it. So even though he didn't have any, I'm finishing the French toast. And he's across, and he decides to call me over. And I'm like, no, I'm okay. And you know what he does? He comes over to the couch because I wouldn't go over. So he tries to like sit close to me, and I'm just not like a affectionate person in that extent where, well, let me not say that, not with strangers. Like, even though we've been talking, I don't know you well enough to be sitting this close to you. So he's sitting close to me and he's watching Anchorman. He's like, oh, are you having a good time? So I'm like, yeah, I guess. And I'm not trying to be rude. It's just the way how he goes about it. He's like breathing down my neck. Are you having a good time? Like, oh yeah, man, I'm good. And like I said, I'm already in the stage of fright. And then he literally pushes me down and tries to jump on top of me and pins me. And I'm like, oh my God. I put myself in a situation where I could get raped. This is terrible. This is alarming. And now, like, I am seriously having a panic attack. Like, I don't know what to do. And I tell him, I'm like, you need to get off me. And he gave me a kiss. I'm not even sure if it was on the lip. I feel like he gave me a kiss on the cheek and he got off me. And then I said, well, I gotta use the bathroom. So I went to the bathroom and I used it and whatever. And I was just looking in the mirror and I'm like, Zoe, you need to get out of here. And I'm like touching him. I'm like, you need to get out of here. This is not for you. You need to drive home. And then I'm like looking down. I'm like, yo, why you got yourself in these situations, man? Yo, why you do this to yourself? Why? Like, you could have been at school right now. You could have been studying. You could have been eating at the cafeteria closed at 5. Yeah, the cafeteria closed really early on weekends. So I was food brain even though I just finished eating. I'm like, cafeteria closed at 5. You need to get back to school. So then I fixed my hair, you know, I wiped under my eye and I went back out. I'm like, hey, I went back to sit next to him because, you know, I'm like, you know, I'm gonna play it cool. I'm gonna play like I'm not alarmed and then I'm gonna tell him how to go. Before I could even say anything, he starts to cry, like hysterically cry. And I'm like, what did I? You don't love me. What? Why don't you want to touch me? And when I look, his genitals are out. Put that away. And then I had to look because what I was seeing, I wasn't sure if I was seeing right. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna throw any shade and I'm not gonna talk about what they look like, but I'm just gonna say, and it's not like it was diseased or anything. I was just like, put that away, put that away. So literally, it was like the craziest thing. As he's crying, like his whole face is turning red and I swear like his hair was falling out. Like it was so weird and bizarre. And he's like, I feel like none of you guys love me. I feel like none of your kind love me. What? You feel like none of my kind love you? What do you mean? He's like, you won't even touch me. You didn't even want to kiss me earlier. You made me feel so bad I had to kiss your cheek. And I'm like, and I know you guys are probably thinking, oh wow, you're so mean, you're so emotionless. Like why are you telling us this story about you hurting this poor guy's feeling? No, because he was being extra, and I did not, like, I wasn't used to that. Like, why are you so emotional? Like, men have the right to cry, but he literally was cowballing, as we would say, because he felt like I didn't want him. And on top of that, why is your genitals out? Like, we weren't doing anything before I went into the bathroom, nor did we start to do anything when I came out. And he literally tried to kiss me, and he took him genitals out, and he was chatting. And I'm like, what? So this is when I say, you know, like, I like you, but, you know, I have certain standards, and I don't rush into things. I don't kiss on the first few dates. I definitely don't do anything sexual, and you just have to know that. And he said, oh, okay, I understand. And he put it back in, and he licked his lips, and he went over to the kitchen like mad upset. Like, I honestly, and he was buff because, like I said, he went to the gym like 3 times a day. He would work out before he went to work. He would drive to work. He actually worked very close to my house, but he, like I said, he lived upstate 2 hours away. He would drive to work. He would go to the gym after work, and he would work out again and drink protein shakes before he went to sleep. So he was like a very skinny white guy, blonde hair, blue eyes, but he was muscular. Like, he was out here popping. And I'm like, yeah, he has the potential to hurt me. I'm like thinking in my head, like, yeah, I need to get out of this the smartest way I can. So I told him that, like I said, and well, not what I just said to you guys, but I told him what I said prior. And he goes, oh, okay, puts his thing back in his pants, and he says, I gotta go. What do you mean? I gotta leave. So I'm like, oh, I thought we were hanging out for the day. Yeah, but you're wasting my time. I have a gym appointment. Yeah, so I walked to my car, and before I could even get my key in the car, he was gone. Like, his car was gone. He had speeded off, and I don't know, it was just weird. I drove home and I told my other friend, who we could call her Brookie. I told Brookie, I'm like, you know, it was a weird interaction. And she told me, literally, like, don't get me wrong, Brookie's not racist or anything, but she's like, yo, I told you that was a weird ass white boy. Like, he was just so not believing that he was white. So I asked her what she meant by that, and she started to explain to me stuff that I told her from like our messages online. She was like, yo, I could have told you something like that might have happened, because it's like he was ashamed of being white. And then I thought about it, and I was thinking back. Every chance he got, he always made sure that I knew that he had flavor, whatever that was supposed to mean. Like I said, with the white Iverson, or the time he told me he likes to ball out at the gym. It's funny now, but at the time it was very scary, and it just moral of the story is be safe when you're dating online. And even if you meet someone once and you think, you know, this person's harmless, they can be harmful. Well guys, that's the end of the story. Like I said before, I'm Zoe Leid. The leader of the week is Adri, and I'll see you guys next time for next story time.